Good morning, yogis. So today we're doing something a little different. We're going to be working with knee pain and modifiers for knees. So it's not going to be as seamless as a class as we're kind of going over how to help you modify for these things. So first thing that I want you to know is that knee pain is extremely common, and some of the reasons that can happen, there's a multitude of reasons. But you have sensitive knees, you have knee injuries and recovery, you have arthritis, you have over tightly hips, compromised joints, and yeah, there's just a multitude. So those are a lot of the common reasons that I've seen in yoga and massage, and we're kind of addressing a lot of those today. Know that you are always listening to your body. So if you ever come to pain or find pain, or like true pain in your body while we're in any of these poses, come out, listen to your body. Pain is a red flag. We do not want that. So back out. If you have any questions about a variation, you can DM me or add it into the comments, and I can get back to you after class. I am working on creating a document for this. That way you have like a PDF ebook available to you with more information in detail. But this is a gentle class just to get you started. Another few things I want to go over are modifications that if you have knee injuries, you should be aware of, such as you should always modify. You'll notice today I said in the description, but as well, you want to have all the props available to you. You're going to have a blanket, a block, and a bolster. You can change these out if you don't have a home studio. A block can be replaced with a book. Bolsters can be replaced by pillows. Blankets, you can use any blanket. Doesn't need to be a Mexican blanket. Move slowly. Really listen to your body. We've already kind of talked about that. If you have a knee brace, wear it. Don't ever worry about what anybody else thinks or judges. That's not part of yoga. That doesn't need to show up. So if you need to wear a knee brace, wear it. That can really help a lot. Microbend. Microbending is very important in yoga, so you're not locking or hyperextending. You're just keeping a small enough bend so it's not locked. It's just going to have a gentle bend. It's not where it's like this, just a gentle micro bend. Whenever you're in a pose like this, if you know that your legs are locking out or dropping lower, you can always have a rolled up blanket under the knees for that added protection to keep that bend there for you. That's not going to strain the knees. That'll help out a lot. Blocks are very helpful for standing poses anytime that you need to engage the legs. So whenever you're in a standing position, you can take the block between the thighs, just above the knees, and really push against the block, and that will teach the legs and the muscles where to align and where to adjust so you're engaging correctly. That is a great one for anytime we're doing chair pose or just even standing here. It really helps encourage the body to align correctly. When you're in forward fold or anything that's requiring you to come closer to the earth and you have bad knees, you can bend the knees and use the block to bring the earth closer to you so you don't feel like you're straining yourself forward, but you have that block to help. So those are a few quick modifications, and now we'll go through a gentle class together with me showing you some poses with modifications throughout. So to start, just come to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you, and let your eyes close. Lift the heart over the hips and just breathe. Take this time to center and ground into your practice and into your mat. You're showing up to your breath. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to the earth behind the back. Walk the hands back a little farther. Lift the heart. For 3, 2, 1. Walk yourself forward. Fold over the legs as much as feels okay. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. slowly come up, and we're going to come onto our knees. So, if this is ever too much, just being on your knees in general, you can always add a blanket under the knees for support, or even one of my favorite variations for this is rolling your mat back onto itself. It's really easy. You don't even need a blanket for that one. You can just roll your mat onto itself to create that extra support. We're coming into a modified child's pose. So I want you to have a blanket rolled up, like so, and you're going to stick it behind the knees, directly behind the knees. And then as you begin to sink back, pull a bolster or a pillow in front of you, long-wise, so it's moving with your torso, and then just fold over the bolster. This is helping take some pressure off the knees, so it's not straining the joints as much by having that extra helper of the blanket behind you. And you don't have to lean forward as much, so that's helping those tight hips with the bolster in front of you. So we'll take a few breaths here. Just allowing the body to relax as much as you can. Knowing that whenever you're in a class, even if the instructor doesn't give this option, if you want to come into Bolster or child's pose with these modifications, you can do so. We'll take a few more breaths here. And slowly come back up to the palms, remove the bolster from in front of you. We're going to bring the knees together, keep the feet wider than the hips apart. That blanket is still directly behind the knees. You can also add a block here, sticking it behind the bum between the feet, and sink back, coming into modified hero pose. If you don't want the block, you can remove it. It's just an added lift. If your calves are really tight and you don't have the block, you're going to feel it. So sinking back into whichever variation of hero works for you. Once again, in any of these postures moving forward, if your instructor does not offer this variation, but they're telling you to go into hero pose, this is a great variation that you can do if you have knee pain. Know your options. We'll take a few breaths here, just sinking back as far as feels good. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Come back forward, remove the blanket from behind you. All right, step back into plank. We're gonna go through one flow, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here, take any movement that feels good. And then looking forward, step the feet to the hands. I want you to have that blanket handy again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, dive back down. Heel toe the feet wider than hip distance apart. Toes point out. Take that blanket and stick it behind the knees as you sink down into your Malasana squat. So this is going to kind of limit your stance a bit. You're not going to come as low as you might usually, but that's okay. You're protecting the knees. So your blanket is wedged between the thighs and the calves. You can always take a bolster or a block behind you if you need extra support in the bum here, or you might not. So find what works for you. Hands come to heart center. Breathe here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Take the hands to the earth, lift the hips to the sky. Maybe you take one hand behind you to catch that blanket and release it to the side. Heel toe the feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Remember, you can always have a block in front of you to bring the earth a little closer, keeping a slight bend in the knees. We'll take a few breaths here. Inhale, come all the way to the sky. Exhale, chair pose. Sink the hips low, arms are by the ears. I want you to take that block for a second, place it between the thighs, squeeze that block, and then bring those arms back up by the ears. You're sitting the hips back like you're sinking into a chair behind you. Your core is engaged, so you're not collapsing here. You're very aware, you're very engaged in the pose. Squeeze that block. That's helping with the alignment and the muscle memory in the legs. For 3, 2, 1. Come to standing and forward fold. Remove the block from between the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Bend the knees. Step or hop back to plank. Going through our flow. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Looking forward, step the feet through the hands, coming into a seat. I want you to take that blanket underneath the knees and let the legs come long in front of you. So you just have that little bend like we talked about in the beginning of practice, helping to support the legs here, especially if you have really tight hamstrings. This can help. And then walk yourself forward, fold over the legs. For 3, 2, 1. Slowly come up. Now I'm going to show you a variation for if you're ever in a class where they ask you to come into camel pose. They're asking you to come into camel. This is a great modification or variation for it. You can come into reverse plank, taking the hands behind you, fingertips point towards the hips, grounding through the heels, lift the hips towards the sky. Or you can come into reverse tabletop, so taking the feet under the knees, palms are under the shoulders, lift the hips. You can modify and figure out your pose as you come up. Try to keep everything in a straight line, palms under shoulders, feet under knees, lifting to the hips. Relax the head and breathe here. For 3, 2, 1. Slowly come down. Give your little self a little self-hug, self-love. And once again, that is a variation for camel. If camel is not in your forte, it's too much pressure to be underneath. So, from here, we want to come all the way onto our backs, hugging the knees into the chest. And I'm going to show you a variation for pigeon pose. If pigeon pose is ever too much, because it can be quite the strain, especially on the outsides of the legs, pulling on the knees, you can come in to thread the needle on your back. So come in to thread the needle, you're going to bring your knees to a 90-degree angle, and then take the right ankle just over the left knee. Take the right hand between the legs, the little hole that they created, threading the needle through, and then take the left hand on the outside of the left leg. Maybe the hands reach behind the left thigh. Maybe they reach over that left shin. Flex that right foot to keep engagement in the joints. That'll help protect the knee and the ankle joints here in that right leg. Pull the knees towards the chest and breathe. Once again, this is a great modifier or other variation for pigeon pose. side, releasing the hands. Switching out the legs, right knee at 90 degrees, left ankle crosses just above the right knee. Flex the left foot, thread the needle, the arms through, finding your position on this side. And pull the knees towards the heart, knowing that it's okay if it feels slightly different from side to side. Wherever you're at here and now is enough. Maybe finding more depth over time in the exhales. Continuing to breathe and release into the stretch. And then slowly release the left knee to join the right, hug the knees in. Take the legs long in front of you on the earth. And slowly roll up with control, engaging through the core. I want you to take a moment to have a bolster, maybe 2 bolsters, or 2 blankets out at your side. So I'm going to use one of each here. We're coming into butterfly pose, sorry. Take the soles of the feet together, the knees come wide. If this is ever too much on the knees, this is where you add the bolster or the blankets under the knees for extra support. We're going to come into reclined butterfly, so walking ourselves back onto our backs. Having those supports under the knees. You can have the hands one over the belly, one over the heart, or wherever you're comfortable here and now. Just breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Take the knees together, remove the blanket off to one side, and take that bolster and place it under your knees. So you can wiggle, do whatever you need to do to find that placement. We're going to come into Shavasana with the bolster underneath for added support here. Take the legs long, let the feet fall away from each other, let the palms face up to the sides and the eyes close. Allow yourself to be still. Just settle into the breath and into the body, being present with each inhale and exhale. Continuing to relax here and holding Shavasana as long as you may need today. Knowing that you can come out whenever you're ready. And thank you for joining me in your practice. Namaste.